my guru says different things about the mind every day, so I can give you my answer now
Right.
instead. But the mind is not actually a problem. A lot of people focus so much on the mind that it needs to be solved somehow, that it needs to be stopped, it needs to be silent. Like there's some goal to silence the mind. And it's the same way, like, the mind is a tool of this system. Same way the heart is pumping blood and blood is moving all through all your veins. You know, people aren't focused on the blood and going, oh my gosh, this blood is going here and now it's going there. And da, 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 da. How do I move the blood there? It needs to go more to my arm. It's not going enough. It should be going to my liver. My liver's not having enough blood. It's like,
So, Mahayana, first of all, welcome to Zest to Live. I'm so excited to have this conversation today, and I was really looking forward to it. So, how are you feeling today, and how are you feeling? That's what I can ask.
yeah, me too. I've really been looking forward to this since we had our chat a few weeks ago, and yeah, I'm so excited. I'm relaxed. I'm really eager to hear from you what questions you have, and hear also some of your wisdom in this conversation. So yeah, I'm really looking forward.
So, Mahayana, I think a lot of times, we live our life, when we are young, okay, we grow up with so many dreams when we are growing up. Everybody grows up with dreams, okay, we want to have and we want to do this, or we want to be free, we want to, just fly, like a Superman. So,
Mm.
people have those dreams. But as you grow up and come to puberty, you realize, not all of those dreams can be fulfilled, or not all of those dreams are practical. So you shortlist some of them maybe,
Mm.
and then you pursue them. And sometimes, once you've even achieved those goals, that happiness doesn't strike, that completion doesn't strike, and you realize that there's nothing here. And that's the moment, for some people the universe gives them the hammer, and it's like the aha moment that
Mm.
realization strikes in.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of curious, how did your journey start? Like, what was that aha moment for you when you were going through your life, and this came in? Because nobody for you, like, spiritual doesn't come just like this. It has to come like this. It comes crashing down for most people when they get into in a deeper state. So I'm kind of curious how that journey started for you.
Yeah, well, great question. I feel there was always some kind of curiosity in me from a young age. I was raised Christian, and so I had this idea of God that was already going on, even beyond what the church was saying. You know, I feel like I was like, this church doesn't know what they're talking about. I just spoke to God yesterday, and all this stuff that they're talking about is not what's really going on. So this was my childhood, but slowly, yeah, there was more inquiry about this world, about myself, about happiness, and these questions were always kind of cooking in the background. And I think I was looking a lot for my purpose in life through my work. um, the main thing was I just kept trying to find what is my thing. Like I saw people who had so much passion and drive for one thing, and I couldn't put a pin in any identity or any passion. There was too many options, you know. I kept trying to put myself in a box to say, okay, I am like this, but it never seemed to fit. So this was always kind of some discontentment going on inside. And so yeah, throughout my youth I was searching different ways. I did yoga, I did Buddhism, I went to Tantra, I went, law of attraction, manifestation, conspiracy theories. Like there's all these different kind of roads.
Whatever
That,
gives me some knowledge or takes me somewhere,
yeah,
you
like
you
yeah,
Yeah, and
some
you got that hunger, you got that hunger. And as you were exploring these new religions, these new philosophies, it was exciting you. And I know that period because I have done that too. But, you know, why did you like decided to not, I mean, leave, but in the sense, why did you thought that the current Christianity, the current one, I'm not saying the ancient one, which was there when Jesus was there and after, like few years after that, what we have now as what we call Christianity, why do you think, you could not resonate with it in the sense, and, you could not resonate with it? What was the reason? I mean, church is one thing that I know a lot of things go wrong with the church, but apart from the church, what things you find wrong with the core religion? Was there something that you found in the core religion that was flowing?
it. it just didn't make sense to me. There was always this, like, something I understood was prayer, for example.
Mm.
And they said God is everywhere and God is always listening and God loves you and this kind of thing. So I couldn't understand why in church we had to say, Lord, forgive me, have mercy on me. This word mercy, I was like, what do you mean mercy? It didn't seem like that kind of grace that people would describe God as. And that was also my experience, I guess, of God. It just didn't make sense. So I don't even think there was a point where I turned away from it. I think I never even entered that stream. And I feel lucky that Christianity wasn't kind of enforced on me in any strong way. It didn't, like, my family wasn't very religious. We were just going to church for some reason. So I think I was probably the most religious person in the family. But yeah, it luckily didn't stick and kind of was adaptable. As I started to explore other things, I could just see how each thing kind of resonated with each other. Um, the same truths that were appearing across different lineages started to kind of connect. So that's, I think, why it didn't grip me. And even today, I don't really know what's going on in the Christian scene. I don't know what it's like to be a Christian today. And I feel that was a kind of a bullet that I dodged because
No, I think the problem with all the organized religions is that there is a certain sense of madness going on. You all the things. It's not like okay. I'm saying okay, Christianity is the only problem. No, I think every organized religion
mm-hmm,
there is. There are because the things happen is like over time hierarchies develop. In
mm-hmm,
Christianity, there is a hierarchy. In all of these religions, their hierarchy develops. You have to because that's organized. You have to develop, and then there are rules.
mm-hmm,
Then there are rules which okay, you have to go to heaven, you have to follow this set of rules, only then you can apply. And then also, even if you apply, God has the way if he wants to bless you or not. Because if you in some of the religion, if you be friend with somebody who is from a different religion, he's not going to take you in. Even if you did good, even if you did follow all his rules, he's not going to take you in. It is like that, you book that table on the with a discounted rate on a restaurant, and you got the terms and conditions, right? Okay, if
mm-hmm,
you do this, you cannot get it. You cannot. It's like that. And this is not how we know God. This is not how Christians actually describe God in the Bible. Because if we go by just by the Bible, it is said that he's merciful, he's ultimate, he has ultimate. And if somebody has ultimate mercy, he's all merciful, then how could he send someone to hell? There is no way.
mm-hmm,
And this is the question, I think that started curiosity for so many Christians and so many other religion people. Even in Hinduism, they say there is a hell. These questions started corporating. But the thing with Hinduism, it's a very big philosophy, not limited to one structure, which makes it a different philosophy than other thing. And Buddhism is
mm-hmm,
even different, but they are in the same way. So once you started to explore these new philosophies like Hinduism, Buddhism, what was that first hand experience like when you started? Because I know you don't know about all of this. You were a devoted Christian. You were like, okay, love God. Then you started to explore these things. What was the like when you started exploring? What were the things that you resonate with here on these different Eastern philosophies? What was that thing that you resonate with?
mm-hmm. It wasn't even about any philosophy that I connected with.
Hmm.
And I think just what you were saying about religion, it's so amazing that it's true that this religion develops after the life of the awakened person. So every religion comes from that same, there's a master at the root of every religion. And when you're in the presence of that master, that is the only time these pointings or these messages work, because they're so specific for their disciples and the people of that time. And that's why so many masters or so many religions seem to have differing doctrines, because the master is speaking what is needed for those people at that time. And those words then are stretched over hundreds and thousands of years to people. It gets so warped as it's passed through. So this, I would like to say, is that the real religion, if you really want to transform yourself, is in the master. It's not in any doctrine and it's not in any path. It's that, do you have guts to find an awakened master like Jesus, like Muhammad, like Krishna, like these people that we really admire? Like, would you really have guts to be with Krishna today? Imagine it was you on that chariot and he's saying, go kill your family. Do you, like, who has guts for that nowadays? This is the real path, is that courage to be with an awakened one, and not just, following the ancient words of one way before. So this is where I discovered, going back to your question, I only was able to see the truth in religion after I met my master and started to understand what's really going on at the root of every religion, with the awakened master who was sharing truth at that time. And that's how you can really connect the dots and see the same pointings from these beings across time. That's my that's my experience, at least.
So, about your master, about your beloved guru, uh, how did you met him? Like, how did, like, how did you even came to India? Because you were living somewhere in the wild west, and then you
Yeah.
came to India. How did that happen? So I'm kind of curious. And how did you met your guru?
Yeah. First, I came to India for yoga. It was one of my many, many paths. But really, immediately upon landing here, I knew I was going to be here for some time. So I moved back, and I moved to India officially in 2018. And I met my master in 2019, I think, at the end of the year. And I met him in Goa. He was working there, he was a therapist. And there was something about him that just struck me. I saw him and I felt, whatever he has, I want that. This was my impression with him. Because here is someone who's so free, so easy, so relaxed, so joyful, also, so beautifully connecting with everyone around him. Like, there's no biasness. He never said anything to put anyone down. So much care. And he had that same care for me when we first met. And that same care has stayed true up to now. It was the same intensity then as it was now, even when we first met. And I see him now, he's still like that with every person he meets. It's like he really is meeting.
Welcome to Luvo. This is your home screen, giving you access to all features like steps counter, water intake, mood check, heart rate, sleep, and gratitude. You can also monitor your steps, heart rate, and sleep by connecting the app with your smartwatch. Experience live meditation, yoga, and healthy eating, all of which is coming soon. Download our free app and start living your best life.
God in every single person. He really is seeing that. And so through just meeting him, and we became good friends, best friends actually. And he was the first person that I could just start speaking my everything to. And he was listening, and he was also pointing things in me that I just never had seen. My problems that were so big on the outside, he was pointing to the root of the problem, which was me.
Honest, honesty.
Yeah. So this was slowly, slowly, as I started to listen to him and act on his suggestions, that understanding and trust grew. And in his path also, he started to share satsang. So once he started sharing satsang, then many people started coming. And that's when, our Sangha formed naturally, just through daily satsang and all of us being together and listening to his pointings and his wisdom. And that's sort of the story of the birth of Anatta Sangha. And now it's been 3 years, and
But when you met him, that Sangha was not created. That's what you're saying when you met him.
yeah, it was before. It
So
was
it was
before.
in front of your eyes that everybody joined in. That Sangha
Yeah,
got created.
it was really beautiful to see. He was taking me to Muji Baba's satsang first. It was the last satsang that he did before COVID, and that's also when Muji Baba said, I don't think I'll be coming back to India again, because COVID was just starting, all the craziness was happening. And that was the trigger for my master, Yahu Baba, to say, wow, okay, someone needs to be doing satsang here. If Muji's not coming, someone needs to do it. Rishikesh needs satsang. So that was his kind of big push to start. And
His own.
yeah, and it started, and it grew so quickly. It grew so quickly.
And how was his satsangs like the first time when you, I mean, you're obviously his disciple in the sense, but when you started hearing his own satsang, how was that experience? I know Muji Mama is famous. Definitely, I haven't watched him, so I can be honest.
Mhm.
I don't know what he teaches or whatnot. But okay,
Yeah,
whatever it is. But compared to like your like in that sense, like when you started hearing him, obviously we're not expecting at the first that he's going to start it. I know that, so that was a surprise. But when he started doing it, how was that experience for you? As like, was it transformative for you?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's it was not like anything I ever knew, because he
Hmm.
was speaking. He was really showing us the reality of this human nature, and all the stories we tell ourselves. And so anyone who would come with a question, or sometimes they come with their state, he always would kind of, he has this beautiful ability to see really who is speaking inside you and point you to your unconscious mind and then behind it. So he's not always just focused on that. He will take your he'll take you there through all of your layers. He doesn't avoid this world as well. He shows us the ridiculousness and stupidity of some of the things of human nature, and really allows us to effortlessly be in grace, in compassion, in loving each other, not just in a fake way, but really in a way where it's just flowing naturally, so that people can live their life in a beautiful way, where people can live their passion, where people can also realize the ultimate truth. Like, it's nothing is avoided on the spectrum. So it was, sometimes his satsang was very shaky for me, because he will
Yeah, he has
speak
that
so directly.
firing. Like I've seen his way of
Yeah.
talking. He has that fiery kind of a way to talk.
Yeah. And that fire is so important, and we avoid that, especially in the West. People really avoid conflict or confrontation or anger. And I was like that as well. Before I moved to India, it was like everyone has to be very polite, and there's so much formality in people. And like, you would never shout at anyone. It's just absurd. And I think India itself also helped like soften that in me, because here everyone expresses themselves fully. You get in a rickshaw and you can shout at the driver so much. No, it's this price, da 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 da, and you're both like abusing each other. And then, okay, fine, and then we're going, and then all of a sudden you're chatting and everything's gone, and you're having a good time, and you exchange
This is
phone numbers.
usual here. This is
Yeah.
usual. Okay. If somebody comes from the west, he's not going to believe like, what is going on in the Rishikesh or Delhi. There's so much noise. I mean,
Mm,
that's it. But one thing that I have this in mind. Again, this is a very important question. Living with your guru in sangha and different country which you have never like lived, like you've been here for like quite a few time, but when you started living here, it was a
mm,
new experience every day. You were understanding something new about a new culture. And it's not even Europe, it's India, so it's a Asian country, so it's very far away from Western culture, like
mm.
different. But sharing devotional music, sharing those retreats, therapies even that you do, how this lifestyle influenced your spiritual journey and your understanding. Like, did it, I mean, did it changed you, but did you find it hard to adjust slowly to this? Like, what was the at initial phase for you, these things when you were, and today also, did you
Mm.
feel some problems when you're like in the Sangha? And it's a different country, different people. I mean, everything's not that easy, I know, but
Mm.
how is that experience right now?
It's, I don't know, I've never really looked back. Like, there I felt really done with my previous life. I felt really complete. So, every day is such like a new unfolding, a new gift, that there isn't really any anxiety or any kind of discomfort. And if there was in the beginning, let me check. In the beginning, if there was, it's always an opportunity to, reflect back on yourself. Who is feeling this and why? If something's bothering you, or if something is, making you feeling a bit chaotic, it's just another opportunity to remove that part. So I don't know. Once I discovered this truth, once I discovered really the truth of who I am, it was clear to me that this is the only thing that I want to live in, cultivate, and share in this world. I was looking for that ultimate stability that I could rest on, and I couldn't find it anywhere else. So to be with a group of people who also are in that exact same thing,
State.
and then also it's just fun together. Like we all,
Right.
there's no ego game going on here, because that's the whole thing
No
we're
politics, no
eradicating.
ego,
There's
no
no politics.
politics.
There's so much joy and celebration. Everyone's also working. Everyone's got jobs. Everyone's working online. So there's no escapism also. Like it's like a dream life for me, and being able to do music and podcasts like this. And then also I work as a video game developer, and I'm also teaching English, and then we're also traveling, and we're doing retreats, and it's like somehow this is all just magically, manifested in life, just from committing myself to that truth. And so there's not a second of time to think
Do you
of
hear
any
some
other
kind of
option.
a cricket noise? Like I can hear something from your side. Is it some kind of a noise? Did you hear it?
I don't hear anything, no.
Maybe I think I'm hearing it. But you mentioned that I was reading your bio, so there it was written that you were always searching for answers until you met your Guru Master, and in India. And can you elaborate that moment, when you realized that ultimate truth beyond knowledge, or if I have to say words?
Yeah, I was actually it was I was in Varanasi at the time, actually, and I had just met my master, and then was away from him for some time. And I was like up to the brim of knowledge. I was just full of chaos and just eating as much knowledge as I could. And I was also journaling so much at the time, which just made it worse, so much mind and thoughts and da 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 da. And there was this time where I was so fed up that I went to sit by the Ganga, just like on the ghat there, and I sat down and said, okay, this is it. What do I know for sure to be 100% true? This was my question for myself. And I started going through everything that was in my head. Like, is this world around me true? Not sure. Does God exist? Also not sure. Like, does love exist? Cannot confirm. You know? Are my thoughts real? Also don't know. Is this body real? Could not be. Could, like, there's so many theories about simulation and this, and like anything can be
Falsified.
dismissed. Yeah.
Falsified.
Yeah. And even this question, do I exist? Also not sure. Also not sure. So what do I know for sure exists? Because I know nothing exists. At least there's nothing. This was the only thing that I could say for certain exists, is that nothing exists, or nothing doesn't exist. I don't know how to say it. And when I recognized that, it was so ultimately relaxing. Like, okay, at least there's nothing. Finally I had a place, or no place, where I could just rest. Nothing. I know for sure that nothing. And this for me was like that ultimate ease. After that, I went home and just sat.
It's like a let go. The ultimate spiritual, if I have to confine in two words, it's let go.
There wasn't even like a letting
Yeah.
go. It was
Mm.
just like, yeah, nothing. Because there was not even sure if I was holding on to anything, you know. That I also couldn't confirm if there was a holding or a not holding. Just nothing, just nothing. That effortlessness of nothing. And for the rest of the day and week, it was just like anytime anything started going on in me, it's just okay, but nothing. At least nothing.
No thoughts crossed your mind. It's like a complete.
Even thoughts were there, but
You were not affected. It's like a
yeah,
silent, like a river flowing.
there's just like this whole whatever is happening was happening, but it's like there's a knowing that none of this is as solid as nothing. So,
Because
I mean,
everything comes from there. Every fact has come from there. Every truth has come from there. Every lie has come from there. Everything has to come from zero or nothing. It cannot come from somewhere. It cannot come from God. Because even that will create a problem that how did he came to be?
mm,
That same question, paradoxical question will start.
mm,
Then you have to say nothing. But again, this question comes: if nothing is, then what is? How? That question also comes. That is where
everything
it's the ultimate
everything
mystery.
breaks at that. I wouldn't even like personally I can't even confirm if things come from nothing. I cannot confirm. This I don't know. I don't know where things come from, but I know nothing is also in all things. So I just know that's all I can say I know is nothing.
It's like, and if I have to say this thing, it's like, you see a small banyan tree, you see a small tree, like an oak tree, any tree, doesn't matter at all, any plant. You bought that plant or you bought the seeds of the tree. If it's a small seed like this, you plant it, you water it. In 10 years, in 5 years, it will become a huge tree. How could it be? From nothing. It was nothing. It was also nothing. It was just a seed. It came to be. What had that potential from that nothing that such a big tree could come? You did not do nothing. You just planted one seed and water it every day, nurture it, and it grew. You did not do anything else. That showed that how much potential every small thing has. We don't see it. That's the problem. But every small thing has the potential to become that. Every human has the potential to become a Buddha, but we don't see it. That's the problem. We think we are very small, but we can be this big. But once you had that realization and you understood and you were not with your guru, then when you met him, did you told him about this experience? What
Mm-hmm.
did he tell you about it?
Yeah, he was doing some retreats at the time, and so I was participating in those retreats, and yeah, I kind of arrived at what he was pointing to in that retreat. All of his retreats were for that ultimate realization, and I showed him my my journal that I was still writing in that day, where I wrote just it's nothing. I'm a devotee of nothing, and he saw that and went yes.
What is surrender?
Surrender. It's when you put your whole existence at the feet of grace. Your existence. This is what I've experienced as surrender. Especially with my guru, it's those times where your whole mind is saying, no, 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 this is right. This is the thing. But if he says, go this way, do this thing, you do it. Even when there's some resistance. Because in that ultimate cultivation of who you are, you need someone outside to take you out of your unconscious garbage. Like this is what surrender is for, is when you cannot be free from yourself by yourself. You cannot spin in your own, like, you just spin in your own web. You need a hand to pull you out. And for me, this is the ultimate grace of surrender, is that you have to put yourself aside and know when there's someone there who can see you better than you, who knows what's better for you than what you know. Because all of our desires, all of our dreams, all of our wants, everything comes from wound. Everything, even the desire to be enlightened, it's all coming from some wound inside.
Some kind of a anguish, some kind of a desire to be important.
Yeah, like everything, every dream. You were speaking about dreams at the beginning of the podcast, and I wanted to share that every dream we have comes from the outside. We see someone when we're young and we go, wow. Or maybe,
Something
okay,
external, something
yeah,
external.
I couldn't be rich, so instead I'll have enlightenment, you know? Or it's like anything can come from that way. And when you find your guru, they're the most important thing to see in your guru is, are they really intentionless or not? And when your guru has no intention and you can put yourself on their feet, then that grace will take you completely out of all of your own garbage. Like, this is the
Sufferings.
only way I was able to see all
The
this
video is
stuff I'm carrying
paused.
around in
Okay.
me.
Hello? Okay, it's back.
Sorry, there's a small connection problem on my side. Is it
So
okay?
it's like that. Yeah, it's okay. It's a bit blurry, but I think it's okay. It is that, like, a guru or a awakened person, only they know that you are sleeping. A sleeping person cannot understand that they are sleeping. It is rare, very rare.
Mm.
Until they had some kind of experience, they don't know they are sleeping. They think, yeah, they're fine. If you tell somebody today that this is not the right way you're going in, look at yourself, he would say, you are crazy. I'm okay, I'm fine. But inherently he knows he's not. But
Mm.
he's not yet realized it. It is telling it, like, you're not
Mm.
fine, you're not okay, there's no way where you're going it is going to give you anything. He knows it, or she knows it, but
Mhm.
they cannot realize it. And that's when
Yeah.
the awakened person comes in with that truth. And it is harsh, he is harsh or she is harsh. The
Yeah.
master, this is a very big myth that he's going to be compassionate. He is compassionate, but in his compassion he's going to be harsh to you. He's going to be
Hmm.
honest to you. He's going to lay out the facts for you, like, this is all the dreams that you have created. It's not what enlightenment is.
Yeah.
This is not what it
Yes.
is. And then that realization comes in slowly, and you start to see, these things. And what you call that, this is not me, this is not, it's like the Advaita's neti neti. Now, this is not
Yes.
me, this is not me, this is not it, this is
Yes.
not it. And it's true. Even if I cut off my every part of my body, I would still exist. So I cannot be the body because I'm still existing every part I'm
Hmm.
cutting off.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
I've said this so many times on my podcast. Albert Einstein, he discovered so many great scientific theories that we know today. It is so important, those theories that has created the foundation for science. He had this one question that haunted him for the rest of his life, until he died. That what happens to us when we die?
Mm.
Because he found it, the energy cannot be born, cannot be created, cannot die. It is, there's no way. Then where does this energy goes when our body ceases to exist? Where does this whole energy goes? How, where? So this is the question he had. I mean, is there a way to seize it? Is there a way to capture it? Is there a way to maybe bring it to another body? Or some kind of these all
Hmm.
things were going on in his mind. And he spent like 30 years, it said, to understand this. That what happens to us? What happens to this
Mm.
energy? He came to a little bit of the conclusion that we have been here, we will be here. We are not going anywhere else. We have always been here. That frequency is the same of everybody. That's what he came to the conclusion, which was significant, that we are on the same frequency. So we are not going anywhere. And it is a very big misunderstanding. I think some people in Buddhism, in Hinduism, it is a bit different. In Buddhism, they both have reincarnation. So they
Mm.
believe, that you reincarnate. In Buddhism, it is a bit different. It is like, they say you don't reincarnate, you cease. But because it's the mind who exists, in you. So you think, okay, this is who's going to continue. It does not continue. It ends with here. What continues is that energy, that growth, that what you accumulated, and that karma that you accumulated, and that is what transfers according to Buddhism. That
Yeah.
that's what goes into different body. You don't go in that sense. That because what we have, Mahayana, is a personality, and personalities are false. And I think you said in the beginning of the podcast, when you were like, you were pretending, you are trying to be somebody you are not, and then you
Mm-hmm.
realize, no, this is something that I cannot be. I cannot pretend that this is me. I have to be
Mm.
honest. I have to be, this is me. If somebody can accept me, my guru can accept me, I'm not going to pretend to him that, this is not me. And that is surrender. That is really the surrender, that you open all your doors. You don't like, keeping a pretendance here. Okay, this is,
Yeah.
okay, I know this, I don't know that. I'm being honest that this is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that is where the relationship starts to happen. But
Yeah.
one question that comes to me is, surrender in the sense, when you started out, there's a lot of hesitation when you met your guru. I think there is a lot of hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
How
For sure.
do we let go of those hesitations, and can surrender actually happen? And how does it feel like to be surrendered in the sense? What does it? Why is it important even?
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, it happens through small experiments, you cannot just it's meet someone and
Yeah. Right.
okay, I surrender. It's very rare, and it's you have to be willing to put in your um, attempt. First of all, is what they're speaking sensible? Does it make sense to you? And second of all, are you going to try what they suggest fully with no rejection? Because even sometimes someone suggests something and we try it in a way where we know it's not going to work. There's like some halfway that you do the thing and you see, it didn't work. So you have to really be very sincere in this kind of experimentation. And then you start to see results, like you start to see your own transformation. And this is the only thing. It's just there's kind of a logic behind surrender, and it sounds crazy because it, logic and surrender seem like two different, directions. But for me, it just happened so naturally and so logically when I realized that I got to a point where I realized that this isn't going to work for me anymore. This I know what this can do. I know how far this took me, and I saw its limitation, and that now I don't want to rely on it anymore. And so actually it's the most relaxing thing when you can surrender to someone and know that they are looking out for you, that person, that master is guiding you. It's the most relaxing thing. Any doubts, then you can resolve. Anything going on, you can speak, and it'll be pointed at. Any harsh pointing or slap or come on, get out of it, you also can know it's for your growth. So it's it's a really big amplification, actually, by grace. If someone can accept your surrender and have the compassion to really guide you in this life, it's the greatest gift. I can't even believe that I found someone who's able to do that. And I think also with a lot of people these days who want to be a guru or want to share truth, this part is often overlooked, where you really have to you have to carry someone. You have to be, you really cannot exist if you're a guru. You cannot exist. There is no more you, because your life really becomes devoted to your disciples. It's often looked like the other way, where disciples are devoted to the guru, but actually not. My
It's the
master,
opposite.
he has no life of his own. He has no personhood that can remain, because he's so 100% focused on all of us. And I've never seen that level of compassion in my life. How he works on people to really lift them up, and seeing the transformation of the sangha around me where we used to be and where we are now is really just by his grace and by his compassion. And that's my biggest dream in life, is to be able to have that level of compassion where, yeah, I don't exist and there's only others and there's only that
It is unbelievable
dream.
to see that amount
It's
of
really
compassion.
unbelievable.
At least today, I can say that.
I've never seen it anywhere else.
You're a Reiki master.
Yes.
Could you explain to me and the listeners today who are listening to us from somewhere how, because Reiki is so that kind of a there's so many, it's like, okay, it's full in, like, in the Western cultures, Reiki.
Mm.
But what is Reiki actually, and how does Reiki serve as a powerful tool for, like, healing, that's at the say, and understanding oneself and the world? Like, how does
Mhm.
Reiki do that?
Yeah, Reiki has been so important on my journey. Uh, and I feel very lucky that I was only exposed to Reiki through my master, because I was really able to discover it myself. Um, it's universal healing energy. So when someone is a Reiki practitioner, they have the ability to have this universal healing energy flow through them, generally through your hands. So often people will do Reiki sessions where you do hands on healing and you place your hands on a certain part of the body, and Reiki flows to that part and the healing takes place. And this can work physically, emotionally, mentally, and also circumstantially. This is the general definition of Reiki. My experience with Reiki is that these are like the basics of Reiki. It can heal the body and can relax you, yes, but what it can really do for your life is unimaginable. Unimaginable. It is so pure that it cannot be used by any wound. Like it will heal any wound that's trying to use it. So you can ask anything of Reiki, ask any intelligence or any desire or anything, and what Reiki will do is it will either clear away that wound that wants it, or it will bring it in the highest way in your life. It really aligns you so clearly to your highest purpose. It's the most cleaning and empty energy. I don't know how to even describe it. I know that sounds like a paradox, but it's the most cleaning and pure and aligned healing modality that I've ever encountered. And it's because of that, its whole nature is healing. It really, it cannot go in any other direction other than healing. So, it can also be used for inviting um, people from the past. So often we use it to invite awakened masters. If you want to invoke the essence of someone like Lao Tzu or like Buddha or
The energy,
Krishna,
the energy. It's like the
yeah, you
energy.
can connect with their imprint. You can also do very subtle emotional healing. You can clean unconscious patterns. You can heal the past. You can use it to prepare for the future. You can heal the whole world in your hands. Like it's so vast, and it's also so effortless. You don't have to meditate for it. You don't have to even believe in it. You don't have to like do it. It's happening now. It's been happening this whole conversation. My hands have been burning with Reiki. Like it just uses you. Sometimes it's just using this system to go wherever it needs to go. It's so vast. Like I could talk about it, what it can offer for hours, and I'm still discovering more and more every day, and I'm still shocked by it every day. How it just delivers things so beautifully in the right time, or how it miraculously like heals things. Things vanish in the grace of Reiki. And one more thing is that when it was founded by Dr. Mikao Usui in Japan, he was he was on the path for awakening, and I think he also might have realized in his life. So this way of healing is so close to that ultimate truth that I feel it really leads everything toward that
Your personal
emptiness.
journey, your personal
Yeah,
slowly starts connecting to it.
it like, in anything I recognize in myself, some unconscious pattern or something, Reiki is the first thing for that. Or anything I want to share with others, Reiki is the first thing for that. It really just like aligns everything so beautifully and effortlessly removes what needs to be removed. It changes your life to show you, oh wow, I don't actually want that, bye. Or, oh, actually this is where I want to go. And it's so seamless and effortless and obvious, that it's nothing is like hard in Reiki. It's just so simple and smooth.
You use the word grace a lot of times in during the whole episode. What is grace to you? What is grace? It's a big question. I think it sounds simple. What is grace? Okay, oh, but it is not that simple. But I want to understand how, with your life that you had, uh, being under a guru, living with him, I think you can explain better. What is grace?
Mm-hmm. Grace is the fragrance of nothing, you could say. It's what can be used to describe the unexplainable. When things just happen, um, it's it's blessings. It's, gosh, I can't even describe what grace is.
Yes,
It's like the fragrance
that's
of
the
the
best
flower.
answer. That's the best answer. You cannot describe it. It falls. It falls like a river, and it's like a drop. And one thing that I like to say when I'm talking about grace, once you have tasted the experience, to whoever is listening, once you have tasted the experience, there is no going back. There's no going back once you have had the experience. And one who hasn't had the experience, he can have doubts. He can have all of those beliefs. It's okay. Because once you had the experience, there is no place for beliefs. There's no place for anybody's words. No external authority can control you because you had the experience, you know it for yourself. Now you don't need any confirmation from somebody else that, okay, this is how it is. You know it. Unless you have to rely on a guru, on a this person, or somebody you have to rely. You don't know. But the moment you had the experience, it is finished. You don't need to get the approval from somebody. You don't need to get the confirmation. You had it. It's that. And that's what a real guru does. He takes you to that same experience that he is living in. And once you had experience, you don't need him in the sense. You don't need, because you know it yourself. And that is what the thing is. But if somebody does not take you there, it's not a point. But it comes down to that. I remember the story of Buddha and his closest disciple, Ananda. And Ananda didn't have any sort of enlightenment until Buddha even died. So he had to live with Buddha for such a long time, 50,
Mm-hmm.
60 years, 30, 40 years, until that. After that, he had enlightenment. So it was a very long journey for him, extremely long journey. But as I said, when
Mm-hmm.
you are surrendered, you have to trust this master. You have to trust this grace. You have to trust this power. And it is what it is. As you said, you cannot take yourself out there. A awakened master can, because he knows. And if you don't have a master, then the universe is your master. It will take care of you, because it has taken care of you till now. You don't know it. That's one thing. But that does not mean it is not taking care of you. It has been taking care of you from the very beginning that you have been here. It has been taking care of you, and it will take care of you in the future as well. Why are you worrying? You don't have to worry so much. And I think a lot of our problems would disappear, Mahayana, if we stop thinking so much about these problems. Okay, I have this problem, I have this problem. you know
Mm-hmm.
some of these problems are beyond your control. That's the one thing. People think about those problems that is beyond their control, right? People think about that, and that's what Reiki does. It clears those
Yeah.
blockages that you have, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these blockages are not even yours. You have taken it over you. You have invited
Mm-hmm.
them outside. Okay, come and take me, control me, those kind of things. The Reiki does clean it up. And that's what it is, clearing of that mind. And what does your guru say about the mind? Because that's ultimately the thing, the mind. Everything is about the mind. This is what does he say about the mind, and how do you silent this chattering voice, or constantly with this chattering? Okay, this, it cannot stop, it does not stop. How do you stop it?
For me, I mean, my guru says different things about the mind every day, so I can give you my answer now instead.
Right.
But, the mind is not actually a problem. A lot of people focus so much on the mind that it needs to be solved somehow, that it needs to be stopped, it needs to be silent. Like there's some goal to silence the mind. And it's the same way, like, the mind is a tool of this system. Same way the heart is pumping blood and blood is moving all through all your veins. People aren't focused on the blood and going, oh my gosh, this blood is going here and now it's going there. And da 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 da. How do I move the blood there? It needs to go more to my arm. It's not going enough. It should be going to my liver. My liver's not having enough blood. It's like, no, the system is just doing its thing with the blood. Same way our minds, thoughts happen
That's the function.
all the
That's the
time.
function.
Yeah, that's the function and the nature of the mind. And once you understand the nature of the mind, then you won't be trying to sort through a big pile of mess. Like you could just see it as it is. You don't
Like
have
a
to watch it
television,
all
like a
sort.
television. Right
Yeah.
now, we are inside it, but once we realize this is a television which will go on and on, I don't need to focus so much on it. That's its function. You cannot, so you come out of it, and then it becomes a television. You can do different things, and you don't focus on it, and
Yeah,
slowly,
it's
slowly
happening. It's
stops.
happening itself. And it's a shame because also the mind is such an amazing
Right.
tool. It's much more vast than you can ever even imagine. And to be able to poo poo it and put it aside, like, oh, it's just mind, it's just mind, it's just mind. It's like some of the greatest poetries and some of the greatest pointings and everything that we know has come from mind. Like there even is mind beyond this personal mind. There is universal mind. In Zen they speak about mind with a lowercase m, and then there's mind with a capital M. There's so much to be discovered from this universal mind. Even if we don't allow our mind to just be as it is, then we'll miss out on that. We have to let this mind just be as it is, not trying to arrange it in any way, not trying to hack the mind or silence the mind or anything. Just let it be. You don't even have to watch it. You don't have to ignore it. You can engage in it if you want. It's just another part of the
What
system.
happens when that state of deep meditation, in that set of deep Reiki as well, I have to say, for a moment everything stops, everything. Like you said that nothingness, like it happens for a moment, maybe it happens, everything stops, time stops. Inherently it doesn't stop externally, but it does for you because you stop. And that moment, no thought, nothing happens, absolutely nothing. What is that one moment that happens and where everything stops, all the function stops? I mean, it is still going on, but you have just come back from that. Like everything is going on, the blood is pumping, your breath is going on, it should be, that's natural, but you have come out of it. You don't see it, you don't hear the mind anymore, the sound is gone, everything is so silent, so peaceful. It happens for a moment only. Unless you meditate on it and take it longer, it happens only for a moment, but that is such a blissful moment that you want to come back again and again to it because you feel everything is so racy. There I can be peaceful, there I can be nothing. And why this nothing is so beautiful, even though a lot of people fear this nothing too, because it's dark. It is not so bright as they say. It can be dark because there's nothing, no thought, nothing. And we want to be surrounded. One thing is for sure, Mahayana, we want to be surrounded by thoughts. We want to be surrounded by people. We like it, we enjoy it, we don't want to be alone. And that's where the things have started problemating. But what happens in that one moment, I'm trying to ask you, because you have been a Reiki master, that moment happens for a lot of people. Complete silence, complete bliss, and that is where you're trying to take them, maybe to that silence where everything is gone, that those patterns are gone anymore. So can you tell me about that?
So there's this moment, yes, I understand. But in this moment, there is still someone who is experiencing silence. And that same someone also experiences the noise when it
Mm.
starts again. So this moment is almost empty, but not quite, because that someone is still there. And because that experience has been had by that someone, then that someone again starts to search for it again. But this isn't that ultimate emptiness, because nothing exists within chaos and within silence. There is no time where everything will just be silent, because the truth is already always silent. It cannot be touched by noise. It cannot be touched by anything. This is the best thing, is that it's effortless. It's not even meditatable. There is no one to experience it. It cannot even be experienced.
Because the
All of
experiencer
this,
dissolves with that experience itself. It dissolves.
I don't even know if an experiencer dissolves or not. There can be an experiencer or there cannot be, but regardless, truth is.
Effortless.
Emptiness is already. Whether there's someone here or not, that is truth. And so this is actually that stability, the stability that lies beyond silence and noise both. Neither are coveted. Often people describe the truth as silence, and that makes some kind of FOMO in people, that I need to achieve silence. But it's not like that, because silence and voice, these two things end up being now part of a duality. So silence is like truth, stability is like truth, space, emptiness even is like truth, but it's still all coming from our personal experience and understanding of it. But that ultimate stability is ever stable, whether you're at a party or whether you're sleeping or whether you're meditating. It doesn't make a difference.
Is
That's why
that
that's why
is
this
that
mind also doesn't
ultimate
make a difference.
nothingness is, if I have to describe for somebody who has never experienced it in sort of a way, is that like a deep, when you sleep, where you don't even know you exist. You are there, but you don't know. You have gone completely. Is that similar to what you're saying? I'm trying to understand it from that perspective for somebody who hasn't experienced that complete nothingness ever. What is that experience exactly? I mean, maybe yeah, you can say you don't know because it's very opposite. Everybody has their different experience, but when you say it's like that, so but is it like the sleep when it's completely deep? There's nobody to experience that sleep is as well. It's completely dissolved. In that sense, I'm just trying to give an example here for making it easier.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot describe it in any
Mm.
way. Yeah. I don't think it's describable, and I would highly recommend to anyone who has the urge for that ultimate truth and that freedom, is to embark on the path of inquiry. Because actually, if you hear about experience, or if you hear about, a description of something, it's another piece of false in your mind that can cover your eyes to the truth of what is. So it's like, I want to say enough to spark that inquiry in people, so that they can really have that urge to know, but also in the mystery of it, because it has to be self discovered. You cannot arrive through any information, even about truth. It's
You have
so
to arrive empty. You have to arrive empty
you
as you came empty.
it's it's your it's it has to be your knowing. So yeah, I don't have any description to give about it, because it is the most natural one, it is the most effortless one, and it is that available and true for every being, every single being. It's not far, it's not even close, it's not even grabbable. All I can do is point at the effortlessness of it.
You,
Yeah.
your bio was like it had that mention of what is called timeless wisdom. That's what you want to share everywhere. that timeless wisdom, ultimate healing, healing that I can see through this podcast, definitely. But what is that timeless wisdom? What do you mean by that? I mean, that word, timeless wisdom. And how do you impart these teachings to others, basically?
Mm. Yeah, this pointing to the self and this reminder for people to always inquire, I think, is the most important thing. And that's where timeless wisdom can erupt from you. You know, everyone has access to that ultimate knowing of who they are. And I just want to make sure that people know how close it is, you know, and that timeless wisdom is the same for every master that's pointed. You know, that's why it's timeless, that every single master, like we spoke about in the beginning, every single master is pointing to that same truth. That
From
ultimate
different
timeless wisdom
directions. That's why you see a difference,
is
because they're pointing from a different direction, but they're pointing to the same thing.
same thing. Yes, exactly. So that same thing is still being pointed at today by people, and it's it's it is timeless. The truth is
Right.
timeless. So, and that's where the ultimate healing takes place, is when you can really recognize this self behind all identity, behind all personality, behind energy, behind body, behind space, behind light and dark, behind all good and all bad, behind zero even. When you're there, then there is no, this is the ultimate healing. There's no wound, there's no person, there's nothing. This is the ultimate healing that I spoke about.
Living a life of freedom, of joy, of unwavering stability is something many aspire to, I think. And I think a lot of people aspire to live that sort of a life where you're free, where you have joy, when you have unwavering stability. How do you cultivate and maintain those qualities in your own life, according to you? Like, if somebody wants to have those qualities, live like that, in a sense, how do you, like, for your example? But so I'm asking, how's that life like? And how, if somebody wants to live like that kind of a life, how will he live it or she live it?
I think the main advice I would give is no compromise. I think compromise is the most crippling
Right.
thing that people are going through in their lives, and we make compromises all the time, whether it's for security or in some kind of fear or some kind of profit. We are constantly compromising, maybe in relationships, maybe in work, maybe with family, and this is really is what sucks us in a way that we don't realize. You know, sometimes we think we're trying everything to live our best life, and there's some drain going on somewhere. And it's because there is some compromise that we made due to our, greed or insecurity or profit. So this is something that's often quite difficult to look at. But if you can check your life to see where you might have compromised, where you might be doing something or being with someone or staying somewhere that you don't actually want to be, but I need this from that. There's always this need that keeps us places we don't want to be. And when you see your compromise, it will make you shake. It will make you go, oh my gosh, how can I live without that? But taking that jump out of your compromise into the unknown, you'll see that this grace comes to support you. And you can develop your own stability and your own truth without having to compromise with your life. So this is my suggestion for beginning on that. Then joy comes itself. Then, adventure comes. Then your growth happens. You get out of your comfort zone, and stability is a result of that.
Byproduct of it. But
Yeah.
you just mentioned the word inquiry, like, how it plays a really important role in your spiritual practice, and as well as teachings. But how does it contribute to personal transformation? And I think I have genuinely this question myself as well. How does inquiry contribute to personal transformation? Because isn't inquiry some sort of a mind playing as well? Like, you asking the questions to who? And I mean, this is a really paradoxical, but it is honestly, who do you ask these questions to? Like yourself, then who is answering? How do you get the answers? So this is something that, comes into a lot of people's mind. I think my mind too sometimes. What is inquiry? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's true. It does seem like it can be a bit of a mind game, but if you can be honest with yourself, then it can help a lot. And if you can even speak to someone about it to get that reflection
Mm,
back. But I would suggest, yeah, whenever something's going on in your life, you get stuck on something, or you get triggered by something, or something's, driving you a little mad, it's a great time to turn around and, yeah, ask who inside is feeling this. This who can show you parts of you that you don't realize are functioning unconsciously. So this is the result of this is transformation, because when you can see yourself really clearly, see, oh my gosh, all of these actions have been coming from this 6-year old in me who was angry that one time because this thing happened to me. And, this 6-year old made a vow to always act in a certain way. And now it's carried out through my whole life. Then it becomes a bit silly and realize, oh, wow, I'm only getting upset at this because of this past thing. This who can show so many different parts. Maybe who shows you your greed. Who wants to be rich, Oh, actually, I just saw this person who was rich one day, and I want to put others down by money. You can, if you can really be honest with yourself and speak it all out.
you can
Yeah, I want to
see
be
then
rich.
you
What am
can
I going to do with the
clearly see
money?
those patterns that you have when you do this self inquiry.
Yeah.
That is where you can see the patterns, because you've been honest to yourself, and then you see the patterns. That's what I discovered myself, that once you start self inquiry, once you start being honest, you could see the patterns very clearly. You could see visibly. It's so clear that this was the problem. Okay, there is the answer. This is what I was looking for, why this thing is happening, because it was
Mhm.
inherently a pattern that you had developed. So it got to you, like the realization that okay, this is the problem. Oh, this is the root cause. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
And it also gives you the solutions. It tells you that this is what you were looking for, this is how you should change it. It's hard to explain because it's a little abstract when we are talking about
Mhm.
it. But somebody who has done a self inquiry, in a sense, a long time, he
Mhm.
could you could understand. And you start with small
Mhm.
questions. Go with small. You don't have to become asking big questions. Maybe you can. Who am I? All of those kind of things can happen, but that's where actually inquiry starts. But you could start with
Mhm.
small things, about small problems. And as I said, a lot of these problems can be self-healed. You don't need to even go to somebody. It is good. But if it's not
Mhm.
possible, then yes, you can really have this inquiry, self-talking, and that really helps, you know. But as we are wrapping up this episode, I have this really important question, because you're coming from that Western side, and a lot of our listeners from West. And spirituality is that trending topic right now in the West, I feel. So in your experience, as you have come from there to such a long journey, what are some common misconceptions that people have about spirituality and self discovery, and how do you address them?
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen, at least in me, that spirituality ends up being just a way to be amazing. It's like the next big way to be an amazing personality, and this is what the root drive for spirituality becomes. And actually, it's not about growth, and it's not about expansion, and it's not about energy, and it's not about becoming more. It's all about simplicity. It's about becoming less. It's about compassion and doing things for others. This all was so difficult for
Right.
me because the spiritual, some people, as I mentioned before, this like manifestation and law of attraction, and the universe works for me, and I'm a divine being, and there's all this stuff that people can like kind of hypnotize
Attract
themselves with
attached
to
or
make
attracted
themselves,
to.
Yeah, it's all like a game to make themselves so big. I am God. It means like I'm the best thing. You know, you're God and I'm God and we're all God and it's like we're the best. But it's not about that. It's this you don't it's the most humbling thing. If your spirituality is not making you humble, if it's not making you a servant, I want to say, if it's not making you less, then you're just in an ego game. You're not in anything else. Nothing else. And the ego is so hard to work on. It's so much stronger than anything that exists. It the ego survives even the death of this body.
That's the last
The ego
barrier,
can
finally. I think that's the last barrier. And, that's why it's so hard. It's the last barrier, and
yeah,
it's really hard to drop because it's fully taken over your body. It's fully taken over you. Even the mind is not that easy to drop, but the
yeah.
ego is, and it is hard. I definitely agree to you.
And this ego I also want to talk about because people think that they need to be completely
Right,
egoless, and that's
right,
also not
right.
true. Like it will always be there, like the mind, like the blood, this thing. But when it's being worked on, it's especially when there's an unconscious pattern being
It's
worked
like, if I
on.
to say, the ego of a servant. The ego transformed itself from the master to a
Mm,
servant. So it's still there, but
yes,
now it
yeah,
is the ego of a servant.
yeah,
Even Buddha had one of serving. That's
exactly.
it. That's the ego,
Every
because ego will be there until you're alive. It has to be there. That's the function. But can you
yes,
transform it? Can you change it?
yes. Can you be of service to that? And we have a little prayer we sing. And one of the lines in the prayer is, I'm surrendering myself and all my nature so I can be a tool for the awakening of others. So it means all my nature, even my ego, even my anger, even my whatever my nature is. It doesn't even matter. I don't have to be, a kind, beautiful, perfect being. Like take Nisargadatta Maharaj, for example. He's sitting in a small home in Mumbai, smoking beedies and talking like this, your truth, your truth. That's his nature. And it was used in such a beautiful way by that truth to speak some of the most profound pointings that I've ever heard. So there is no cloth you have to wear. There is no personality you have to assume in order to share. That's the best thing, is that your whole ego doesn't have to change into a new way. It's
True
just,
to
you're right, as
yourself,
you said,
howsoever
it
it will
becomes a
be. Yeah.
servant. How it is already, it becomes service to that truth.
Again, this question doesn't is not really valid, or maybe it is valid. I don't really don't know, but looking ahead, what are your aspirations, or, if I have to say, goals? I mean, it's not a really a valid question, but again, I have to
I
ask it
love it.
because you have to go somewhere. You have to wake up every day. So, what is your aspirations or goal for future in terms of contributing and continuing, sorry,
Mhm.
sharing your teaching, impacting the lives of others?
Yeah, I love this question. Of course, I, uh, I definitely have a dream to be as compassionate as my master. This is my first big goal, and to be able to transform lives the way he is. And I also want to share Reiki in such a big way. The Reiki that I've experienced, how it can really transform lives beyond this, beyond what people already understand it as. I really have a dream to share that and do very large Reiki courses. Um, just continuing with Sangha, also growing Sangha, doing big retreats, traveling. I'd love to do satsang one day. These podcasts also I'm really enjoying, and being able to share anything I can do to share and to help others has just become my goal. So I have my own ideas in my head, and as you know, we'll see also where my path takes me itself. I'm very open, to to wherever it goes, whether it's through music or through
You're
podcasts
ready
or
for
through
surprises.
retreats or
You're ready
through Reiki.
for adventures. You're
Yeah,
not worried about anything. Okay, that's
yeah,
what it is. Because you're not making up a comfort zone again. You're not making true. Okay, I want to be here forever. You're not being attached to anything. You're ready to go tomorrow again to some new place if you have to be, and that's what it is.
yeah,
That's what it is. Life is about. Life is change. And this has to be understood.
Yes.
Life is not like stable. Okay, you're going to sit here forever. You have to change. It's constant change. And there are people, two types of people: one who flow with the change, and one who don't. And those who
Mhm.
don't, they die. Those who do flow, they never die, because they cannot be die. And that's what it is. That's the ultimate truth. And before it's too late, I would say to a lot of people to really start that inquiry, start that journey before it's too late, because after a time it might be. Then there is, I mean, it's never too late, they say so, but it is really not true. One after time, it is really hard to get into it. Right now, maybe it's the right time because it's telling you to do it, but you are stopping. And after some time, it would not be there. The voice would not be there to tell you to do this journey, and it's too late. It's there for a time. You have to start. And that's what I like to tell to a lot of people, that if you feel it's the right time, if the whole body, your whole soul, if I have to say, is saying to do this journey, to go on this adventure, go for it. Whatever it brings, it
Yeah.
can bring, yeah, it can be hard, it can be tough, it can be dangerous as well, maybe. I don't know, but that's what it is. That is life. And that is going to shake you, change you, transform you in such a way. And because I'm saying all of this, it is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs lost everything. He didn't know what to do in his life. He was completely confused, and he came to India. He went to an ashram in it is a small town called Kechi, and there was a used to be a Baba who used to live. He has heard about him from some of his people in the states. His name was Nim Karoli Baba, and he came to India. He wanted to meet that master, maybe see what he is or whatever. He came from the west, and he went there, and just to realize that he has died a few years back, so he's not here. But he lived there for a while, and in that ashram that he had. And once he came back, he told, like, it has changed his life completely just by being there. Everything was clear. Every confusion was clear just by being. Even if he was not
Mhm.
there, the presence was not there, that energy was there, it
Mhm.
cleared him. And he was telling it to somebody else. I forgot the name. I think maybe Mark Zuckerberg. Yes, he was telling to Mark
Mhm.
Zuckerberg that if you ever feel confused, lost in your life, Mark, I'm telling you, just go there. You're going to see. Just go there. And he also came here. Mark Zuckerberg came here during the time of the
Mhm.
initial state of Facebook, and he came also here. It also transformed his life. And I think he's talked about it a few times in his interviews. So you see, these people leave, but they leave behind that energy. They leave behind that wisdom that never goes away. Buddha cannot come back. He cannot. But his presence, his teaching, his Dharma lives forever. That is timeless, that he has left. He might have been gone. That's okay. His eternity is not gone. It is present. It's only that if you tap into it, you could finally enter into that space. Or if you don't tap into it. That's what I could say. So thank you so much, Mahayana, today. I'm so happy to. I think it was a fabulous conversation today to have, and we could discover, exchange so many thoughts and facts or things that could help us, you, and maybe the listeners in some sort of a way, because that's what we are trying to establish through this podcast, to bring that zest live. And I think your master would like this word. If you ever tell him zest, I think he would love this word, because I think that's what he does. Like, speak with
Yeah.
full zest. And that's what we are trying to bring that positive energy to it. And this is a Luvo original podcast. So, what you do, Reiki and yoga, it's there on our app. And the purpose for this app was to help people who are beginning this journey. It was to be that add-on to their life, so they could start this journey. It's easier for them. And you guys can check out the app, and it's a beautiful app. And you could find healers, you can find yoga, you can find guided meditations that would help you to begin this journey, and or even assist you if you have already begun, to take you further. And I think one of them is this podcast. This will assist you greatly with people like her, I think, with sharing this thought. And thank you so much, Mahayana, today for
Thank you
bringing this
so much. It
podcast.
was so good to talk with you today. Such a blessing to be here. So thank you. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and this conversation was just so delightful. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Luvo. This is your home screen, giving you access to all features like steps counter, water intake, mood check, heart rate, sleep, and gratitude. You can also monitor your steps, heart rate, and sleep by connecting the app with your smartwatch. Experience live meditation, yoga, and healthy eating, all of which is coming soon. Download our free app and start living your best life.